We're back. Guess who's
We're
back?
back.
Back again.
Back again.
Survival
Hello,
Jobs is back.
survivors. We needed a little break, but everyone, thank you for tuning back in with us for Survival Jobs, a podcast in collaboration with BroadwayWorld.
Broadway.
Wow, Jason. See, you're practicing your singing for our guest today.
Yes.
She's going to give you some voice lessons.
20-minute consultation. Thank you, Mia Gentile.
Thank you, Mia. Exactly. That's
I could be on Broadway.
Wow, Jason, you're really giving me the notes today. I'm really into it.
Oh my gosh.
Is this the new you?
Is this the new me? Rejuvenated. Not really.
Wow. Rejuvenated. Okay, let's do a little recap. So everyone, we're so sorry we abandoned you for 2 weeks, but we were busy. Jason Coombs is a superstar, and I know we've talked about the Bridgeport Film Festival on this podcast in the past, but it happened and it was such a success. I was so lucky to be a part of it all weekend. And I just want to give a little love fest to my boy, my co-host, my partner, Jason A. Coombs, because you guys, this guy is superhero. I don't know how he does it. Superhero, a superhero, Superman, all the things. The festival was honestly, Jason, so unbelievable, and I'm so proud of you. And watching all of these filmmakers come in and be like, whoa, we've gone to all of these film festivals, big giant ones, small ones, and this, and the feedback I was getting from the filmmakers was that Bridgeport was so passionate, well organized, and really made everyone feel comfortable and loved, including myself. So how do you feel?
Thank you. I appreciate all the support you've been giving this whole time, and for those super kind words, because it was super challenging this year. I think I've said this before, it was more challenging than last year just because of circumstances and, being back to work full time. Last year, I didn't have a full-time job. So there are a lot of factors that made it a little bit more complicated, and a little more challenging. But I felt like this year was more rewarding. We had some really cool events. The actual production value of the festival, I think, shout out to Ryan Nassau, was just stronger. We had some really beautiful films. We had a script reading, a live script reading that you were in charge of. I threw you in charge of it, literally 20 minutes before it started.
Yeah.
And you
yeah, you did.
You held it down.
We did it.
We did it. Yeah, we had a wonderful discussion with our special guest, Robin, supported us. He literally got off a plane and came right to the film fest, basically. And Lisa Lampanelli, a comedic icon, was there.
And future podcast guest, you guys. Yes. That episode is going to come up soon. And you guys, she's so funny.
She's hilarious.
Can't wait.
She's so hilarious.
We literally need to talk to BroadwayWorld to be like, hey, how many swears can we say in an episode before we release our episode? I'm nervous.
Lisa, she's so incredible. She's such a sweet person. And, the fact that I met her, not even meet her really. I knew her through our friend, Robert Peter Paul. That's how I got her contact information, because she had emailed me about a reading that Robert did. And long story short, I just reached out to her, and she was just so kind. It was yes, I want to be a part of this. And she's our friend now. She's literally our friend. She was I want to be on your podcast. I know, it's so Broadway, right? She's
so Broadway, Jason.
Yeah. And then Ivory Kino, who's going to be in the upcoming Batgirl series or film, on HBO Max soon, also came out and did a wonderful conversation. And it was just truly inspiring. And I had a lot of anxiety about the festival this year, just because, it was working with new people, and it was just a huge endeavor. And I felt like I didn't have the right tools. I felt like I was starting at zero again. We did it last year, but the fact that I had so much support, from you and we had such a small but great team who really believed in me and really believed in what this could be, and really believes in Bridgeport, my hometown that gets shitted on all the time, that I wanted to bring something positive to.
And baby, you did. Yeah, you fully did.
Thank you.
I think the word of the festival, if I were to say, is passion. Passion drives, for me, drove this whole festival and the whole process from what I saw coming in. So And by the way, isn't
you.
that what drives us all as artists, our passion? So
Yes, you have to
keeping it
be
preach.
passionate. Yeah, you if you want to be an artist and you want to create, like you can't. I guess you can create without passion, right? But like, how are you going to touch people, right? If you're
How
not
not
passionate.
fun also.
Yeah, how not fun, right? And how
How
are you going to
not
connect with
fun.
people and how are you going to
Yeah.
draw people in if you're not passionate about what you do?
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool that you said that. And I really, really appreciate it. I don't thank you enough. You
Stop.
literally held the red carpet down and you were there. I literally was like, Samantha, these scripts aren't printing.
Yeah.
Can you do this?
Yeah. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on, but we'll do it.
You did it.
And you know what? It was a hit.
It was a hit. That was like one of the highlights of the festival.
I had a great time.
People really loved that.
I would like to be in charge of that segment next year, so thanks.
You're done. It's done. Whatever people want to do, I'm like, you can do it. Thank you. One less thing for me to worry about.
That's my job for next year. Well,
yeah, so
now you can at least take a little breather, and then start going for next year too. And we're just gonna bang out so many great episodes of this show in the meantime, between now and then.
Yes, hooray, hooray.
Hooray.
So super excited. So thank you
congratulations,
all for supporting.
Jay.
Thank you for supporting. And thanks for everybody who came in the filmmaking. Like, I wish we could see these films. Like, I wish we could, like, the virtual festival is still going so we could link these films. But, check out our website. Check out some of these really amazing artists. Like, people are really killing it. They may not be like Steven Spielberg yet. They may not be Ava DuVernay yet. But they're making beautiful, inspiring, like sincere, heartfelt, beautiful work that should be seen 100%. By as many people. So
100%. Congrats, babe.
Oh, thank you. Congrats to you too. Like,
congrats
you held it down.
To everyone.
Congrats to everyone.
Congrats to everyone.
Should we talk about Mia?
Yeah. So Mia Gentile is, this is a pattern with us. We're just getting all these guests on here that are from Connecticut. Speaking of the Bridgeport, Connecticut Film Festival, we have another person from Connecticut on the show. And I think that's really beautiful that we keep bringing it back to home base.
I guess so. It's so funny because, like, it's just the way it's been happening, just the way that the cards have been falling. And I guess because we do know a lot of people, like, people know people. And
it's like our little orbit of, like, people we can grab and be like, come to the show.
Exactly. Because I remember you reached out to Mia and you were like, oh, I think we got her. And I was like, oh, I know her. Like, I saw her in a show with my friends Kyle and Greg, like, a very long time ago. When I was,
we were kids. Yeah.
So it's just so cool, like, to see people who work hard and get the payoff,
Yeah, and shout out to Mia for listening to the show before. So our temperature check, you guys, this week is in the episode with Mia because she liked it, so we all did it together, which I thought was cool.
It was cool. Awesome.
You want to kick off her bio, babe?
Let's kick off her bio, babe.
Babe?
Mia Gentile spent 5 years in the Broadway cast of Kinky Boots, in the ensemble and understudy for Lorne. She impersonated many a diva in Forbidden Broadway, off-Broadway, and can be heard on the original cast album of Forbidden Broadway, Comes Out Swingin'. She has toured with Scott Bradley's Postmodern Jukebox and was a soloist in concert with the Portland Symphony Orchestra and the Winston-Salem Symphony, singing the songs of Rent, La Boheme, and Moulin Rouge under conductor Robert Moody.
Mia was interviewed by Jerry Seinfeld on ABC's Good Morning America for her viral YouTube video, The Stanley Steamer Variations by Mia. Mia and her collaborator Roger created a two-person band called Missy Fit and have released music on all streaming music platforms. Her favorite roles include Maureen in Rent, Millie in Thoroughly Modern Millie, Margie in Mae West's play Sex, and Rosalind in As You Like It. Mia has a BFA in musical theater from the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music, CCM. She is a voice teacher and a Broadway ambassador for Broadway for Arts Education. Boom.
Boom.
Enjoy this episode, you guys. We're so happy to be back, and we're so grateful to all of our listeners.
Yes. Enjoy.
Hi, Mia.
Hi. Mia. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be on here with you two. It's cool to, talk about our childhoods growing up doing theater and like crossing paths,
Yeah.
It's crazy. I know we were just talking before we pressed record how we have so many guests from Connecticut, and then everybody's doing the thing and doing the hustle and killing it and are so talented. So it's so fun when we like are old. We're in our 30s. Well, I don't know if you're.
Yeah, me too.
You are. Yeah, I think you're.
Yeah, I'm 33. I'm in my Jesus year.
Wow.
Yes, Jesus year.
Congratulations. How like I remember seeing you as a kid, right? You were little Sally in Urinetown. I didn't make that up.
No, that was Megan Watt. I was Hope.
So okay.
It's okay.
So I did make it up.
You did make that up.
Compliment. Megan Watt's very talented.
Shout out to Megan Watt. Shout out to Megan Watt.
But I was also double cast, so you might not have seen me on my night in that one.
I definitely saw you.
Okay. Well,
because I was with Ben. Shout out to Ben Simpson, who never listens to the podcast, and I always shout him out, and he never listens. But I remember like being at this performance and like chatting with you after. So anyway, that's a very long, rambling way of saying life is funny when we were kids, and now here we all are. And I know Jason saw you in productions as well.
Yeah. And we met.
Yeah, we have good friends, Kyle and Greg, who are always doing shows. Yeah, good people.
Really good people.
Yes. Oh, so lovely to talk to you. And you listened to the podcast and you were like, oh, we like that. We start with the temperature check now. So I wanted to do that with you. I wanted to check in and see how you're feeling.
That's so my jam. I'm like all about the retreats and the meditation and the mindfulness.
It's a wild time we're in. So I think it's important just to just see where people are at and like meet them where they're at, right?
100%. 100%. Yeah. Oh, so is it my turn first?
Yeah, so what's your temperature check?
That being said, bring out your authentic self. I would say right now, I feel a little like shot out of a cannon. Like I got sort of a bad, my sleep schedule is weird. And so I feel a little like slow in my head, but then my caffeine is kicking in. So it's this like molasses and then like buzzy. I feel good. I'm really happy to be here. I was really in my feelings like the last few days and feeling really heavy, but right now I'm feeling hopeful. I'm like excited to be having a conversation with the two of you about the arts.
We love feeling hopeful. That's such a good feeling to have. And I feel like for me anyway, it's been hard to have that feeling since the pandemic and like coming back to life. And I know that sounds crazy because it feels like it's been so long, but also not long at all. I was having a conversation with my friend yesterday where I was saying, I'm still trying really hard to get back into my pre-pandemic routine. And it's tough. And it's like really feels so draining. So we love hopeful. In conclusion, we love hopeful.
We can just hope for hope sometimes. Sometimes hope is not accessible, and that's okay too. It's okay not to be okay.
That's right.
Yeah. And what is like, your pre-pandemic routine is like you're a whole different person now, right?
It's
like
a new life.
It's a new life. You've had to grow so much and shit happens, shit changes. So
that's right.
100%. Like what can we let go of? Like, what parts of my hustle can I let go of? Like maybe it's not about efforting as much.
Hey, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. So let's just jump right in. As we know, this podcast,
did you do a feelings? What about your check-in?
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Sorry.
You're right. I was going to say that for my check, but let's do it. Go, Jay.
Where are you two at?
I'm feeling, I'm like, I feel kind of similar. It's been like a heavy week where I just finished this massive festival that we put on with Samantha's help and help of a lot of other people. So I'm still coming down from that. And it's like, kind of like, you had that feeling of like, oh, that was so fun. I want to do it again. But also like, I'm so tired. So it's like this weird, like
the
balance.
Come down.
Yeah.
The come down is real. Like when a show closes or something you've been like putting a lot of focus energy into, and then the excitement and like the aftermath can be like a low. Can be a real low.
For sure.
Plus you're exhausted.
Also, he's a superstar. The Bridgeport Film Festival is the festival he's referring to that he founded and created and runs and is a superstar, and it was amazing. So Jason, by the way, congrats, and we'll talk about this more on the mic check.
Thank you.
But like, what a star, what an icon. Jason A. Coombs in the flesh.
Too sweet.
That's amazing.
My temperature check is as follows. I'm hot right now because I turned off my AC to record this, which is all good. But then I also am like, why am I in a sweater? because I was cold before. So now I'm in the sweater. Now I'm committed to the sweater.
Take it off. You don't have to.
You know,
we can reset it anytime.
I think we'll keep the sweater on for the video, for the vibe, you know.
I like your nails though. She has these hot pink
nails.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
They're adorable. That's like Malibu Barbie nails.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I was like, you know, speaking of temperature checks and like staying happy and not heavy, I was like, I need a bright color on these nails to keep the
100.
vibe. So
100.
I got that. And then I was telling you guys, I got a lot of blood work done today just for some routine doctor's appointments. So I'm feeling a little like weird from that, but then also I'm a psycho hypochondriac, so I'm like, wow, I hope everything looks normal. So I'm gonna be spinning about that for a couple of days,
waiting on those results.
Good. Yeah, I'm
lots
good.
to ruminate.
Yes, so much. So wow, I love that we just did temperature check with our guest, Jay. We never do that. Thank you, Mia, for introducing a new format to the show.
It was your thing that I just really loved, so glad to be included.
We love that. So as I was saying, as we all know, this podcast was born sort of out of the inspiration to talk about our survival jobs as artists and how we do the thing, etc. So Mia, do you have a survival job from your past or your present that you think positively impacts your art or who you are as a person? Any fun stories you want to share?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've done a lot of different kinds of survival jobs, and I was thinking, like, as I was listening to other episodes of, like, what's that horror story one? And I was like, I don't think I have one. And then this morning I was like, oh, I blocked it out. But the one that I'm actually, and I hesitate to even call it a survival job because it is totally related to what I do. And I really love it. And I get a lot of satisfaction out of it, is singing in wedding band. I love it.
That's so fun.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. Like, I have always wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. And then I did a solo concert at the bitter end, and the bass player who I knew through Kinky Boots, Mike Viseglia, referred me to these people who were looking for a new female singer. And so, yeah, I've just been working with this one band called One Love so far. And we traveled pretty far for gigs, but I guess the reason I always wanted to do it was that, like, it seems really special because it's this couple, it's their special day. Like, it's their big day, you know? And it's like everyone in the family is getting together to celebrate the love of these two people. And I get to be a part of that through, like, I think the thing that makes any kind of experience for me more fun is music. So if I can just jam, and like the musicians we have are insane. Like, we have our trumpet player, like, played with Ray Charles. Our sax player was in Tower of Power. Like, it was insane. So it's my happy place, like live music with incredible, musicians. That's my happy place. But it's definitely a learning curve type gig where, like, if you're used to theater and, sound, like, I'm standing in front of a drum kit. We're skrelting, like, the greatest hits, like, or like Gaga, Pink, Whitney Houston, all that stuff, like, for hours, and then you, like, have a quick dinner break and then you're back on the floor and you're dancing and, and you really have to, like, be light on your feet and have a really good ear for, like, hopping in on harmonies, because we don't rehearse. We just, so if somebody's taking one harmony, you kind of have to know all the parts of a song, just in case, like, whatever gets called, you don't know what's going to be called. So it's like, oh, well, she just sang 3 solos. Like, I'll do this one since we both know it, and she'll do the backups, and then hopefully the male singer can fill in. It's just very on the fly, which actually also is, like, one of my favorite things. Growing up with, like, Good News Gospel Choir in Weston, Connecticut, being, like, a worship leader in Baptist churches and singing jazz, like, that kind of, like, light on your feet, listen, figure it out together, improvisational nature of it is really fun for me.
That is so fun. You're bringing so much joy to people, right? Like, it's like you're partying. You get to party for like 2 hours.
100%. And One Love is a great band to work for because it's, like, really about the music. It's not like we're forced to wear 3-inch heels and lashes and it's like a production show. It's like, we're here to party. Right. We're here to have an experience with everyone here, and we're like, we'll learn whatever your special requests are, and we'll just, like, go in.
Was there ever like a really wild request that someone gave? Like, like I want to hear.
Okay, so there was this wedding. There was this wedding in Nantucket recently, and I guess they were like sheepish about requesting this song. It was a Macklemore song, but I had never heard it before, and it's like the lyrics are really silly. And our band leader Eric Nicholas had to like do this British rap about like it's very graphic, so you can edit this out later. But it was like.
Oh boy.
He's like, I got a hose. It's big, pink, strong, and I'm gonna like it was. The song was like he was basically rapping about his penis, and like
good for him.
Like,
good for him with that confidence.
And we cried, like it was this, and we had a really, really, really good time. Like this song, and we danced. I had never heard it from Macklemore, and they were like embarrassed. But everyone on the dance floor went crazy. Like it must have been some sort of like college
inside joke.
Right?
Yeah.
It went insane, and we went for it. Like I was driving the other singers up, and we were learning this. And we were like, okay, can you get those like oh, and we're like all sort of piecing it together on the fly. But it was wild.
Wait, I want to hear this song now.
Yeah.
The verses, like the rap verses, are really funny. Like they're very. I don't know. I think the song's supposed to be silly. Like I think it's got a wink in it.
I think all his songs are kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
They're all kind of like
self-aware.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Oh my God, that sounds so fun.
All right, let's flip it and reverse it. Was there a survival job that you just can never go back to? That just like just makes your skin crawl.
Well, I did the typical like. I actually really liked waiting tables because again, there was that aspect of like service. Like I would love to like if there was a couple on their anniversary or a group of friends, like I'd like to sort of like vibe with them and see what their speed was, you know?
For sure.
But I had a job, and I think I was honestly, my experience of the job was like colored by my own like dark night of the soul that I was in. But I was a brand ambassador for like one company. Like I also catered, which was not bad. But it's like you're handing out flyers in Times Square, but then
oh boy.
So as a recovering people pleaser, it's like people are trying to go about their day and you're stopping them, being like, let me try to sell you something, like take this thing that you don't want or need and let me interrupt you in your day. And then there was this other one where I guess we had to like get people from the street to participate in a video that we would film on an iPad, and it was tough. We found a couple of KPS steps, but it was something like it seemed like a reasonably good cause, like girls in science or something. But it was like we were having we didn't really know what we were talking about. And so we had this very vague template, and then we're asking strangers to participate in this thing that like we have a very shallow understanding of. So it's kind of a wild time. And you're like outside all day, whatever the weather is, you're like stomping around, like literally pounding the pavement.
Like actually pounding the pavement. I always feel so bad when those people come up to me and they're so enthusiastic and excited and really committed to the job. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I gotta go. And they're like, but wait, your hair. This one person in Union Square always, in old life would come up to me. I used to be in Union Square all the time for my survival job. And they used to be like, ma'am, your hair is so beautiful. They're like trying to get me to go to this salon.
Oh yeah.
I think always so committed.
People. I get duped sometimes. I'm like, I'm just a friendly. I'm not that you're not. I'm just saying. Like
I'm like, I gotta go. Sorry.
Yeah, there are some days where I guess I'd open to that. Like there are times when I just give myself to like time to wander alone in the city and just see where the city takes me. But most of the time, I'm like, I'm going somewhere. Like I need to go somewhere, and I'm probably running late.
I'm always late. And so that's why I'm like, I'm so sorry, you guys. You're great. Although there was like recently, this guy was pretty hot and he was like trying to talk to me about something, and I stopped and I talked to him, but then I had to go. Anyway.
You're like, you can cut my hair.
Yeah, I'm like, hello, what are you trying to sign me? He was like, can you sign up for this? I'm like, yes, I'll sign up for whatever you want.
That's that job. They're like, get the hot guy.
Yeah, exactly. So that people want to stop and engage.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, good for you for doing that. That's like a very tough job to have.
Yeah, I mean, I think, every job has its own challenges. But yeah, that one felt a little demoralizing. after a while of people just ignoring you.
I had a job like that too. I think I talked about it in the podcast a while ago, which was like in South Street Seaport, I believe. And I was handing out little flyers for a little shop.
Oh.
No, it's different. It's when I was in the college. And yeah, I quit after like 4 hours. They were like, "Oh, it's time for a lunch break." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not coming back."
Just 4 hours.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm good. I'm good on this.
I'm going to just stay on the lunch break forever.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Don't even pay me for today as long as I don't have to come back. Goodbye.
Exactly. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Some people are good at that stuff, you know? Like, and I mean, even when you like walk around in the village, there's like comedians being like, comedy show, you want to go to a comedy show?
You like comedy?
Who knows? Maybe they enjoy that. Like, sometimes engaging with strangers can be fun, but there's something for everyone.
Also,
there is something for everyone.
That's
terrifying. You have to be really brave. You have to be really brave.
But you also have to be brave to be an artist. So it all works out. These survival jobs and artists and acting and auditioning. So we're all just brave people.
Yeah, it's like a rejection desensitization training.
Exactly.
Reject it over and over again and hold on to your self-worth, you know, with both hands.
Yeah, exactly. I want to jump in and talk about Kinky Boots. So you were in that show for 5 years.
Yeah,
true?
Nearly, like just about.
And this was, correct me if I'm wrong, your Broadway debut?
Yes, I had done a bit in Broadway before that, but that was off Broadway.
So what was it like making your Broadway debut in such an iconic, amazing show? And you understudied one of the leads, right? So can you talk about just like the experience of making your Broadway debut in Kinky Boot? Am I okay? It's the blood. It's because I took the blood. I can't talk.
You're doing great.
Thank you. Making your Broadway debut in freaking Kinky Boots, and like, what was it like going on? Just tell us a little bit about all of it. We want to know all the tea.
Oh my gosh. You can't give me that kind of an open-ended question.
We'll be here all day.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I felt, and you know what, honestly too, I think I knew in the moment that I was spoiled, like getting there and being there. And of course it was like being a replacement in an already existing, like very tight-knit cast and crew, was definitely also like a learning curve. But they became my family and still are. Like, I still have like the text thread blowing up of the Kinky Boots ladies. And yeah, I don't think I can appreciate it even more in retrospect is what I'm saying. As far as like how happy we all were to be doing this show that meant so much. And our producers were really good to us. Like, this is not what you typically hear. And yeah, Daryl Roth would be like back, like in the wings, like watching the show from the wings, just popping in, like just to, because she loved it, loved us. Hal Luftig took really good care of us too. Harvey Firestein would come in and be like Den Mama. And like, you know, it was clear, like from the inside of it, even though it was like day in and day out, punch in, punch out, like show 2000, blah, blah, blah. It still was clear that like we had something special. I mean, I wasn't even there when they all like were at the Tonys and won Best Musical. Like, they all had experienced the ride of a lifetime, and I came in as like an early replacement. But it was like, you know, and of course, any long running show is like a big dysfunctional family. You know, you're gonna deal with personalities, and we had big personalities.
Yeah.
like the women's ensemble dressing room, basically. Well, we all had our own dressing rooms upstairs, but then we had this like quick changey type area under the stage that we lovingly call the gondola, and we lovingly call each other Slag, because it was set in Northampton. And so that was to us a term of endearment. Even though when we try to tag each other on Facebook's like, this is bullying. We can say this.
Anyways, that's so funny.
The Slag gondola. I mean, all of these women were like the funniest, raunchiest. Like, I think each of us were used to being the funniest person in the room.
Right. And then you were all together.
It was a level of ridiculousness that was like of epic proportions. Like, we just laughed a lot. And we all like, and not just the women, but we all took care of each other in the cast. Like, when Natalie Joy Johnson's dog was in the hospital, we like all threw her some money, or we were all like, you know, we really looked after each other. And yeah, being an understudy was cool. Like, got to go on for this, just the best part ever. Like,
it's such a good role. Yeah.
Lauren is just such a weirdo. And so I got to be my own brand of weirdo. Although I think at first it was a little intimidating because, you know, Annalee Ashford is just a genius, right? So like she took a part that could be relatively like, okay, quirky ingenue, but she made it hilarious. Like, and that's just all her force of nature, like magic. And so, you know, understudying and learning the role, and actually the associates were away, like mounting the production in like Japan and Canada, and like it was just exploding everywhere. So the stage manager was like, well, this is how so-and-so does this part, and this is how so-and-so did it, and this is how Annalee did it. And, you know, so it's just like, there wasn't a lot of like being a replacement. There's, you know, it was just a learning curve around like the luxury of getting to create your own interpretation of a role versus like coming in and, but they still wanted me to do my own thing. They still wanted me to bring my own life. I think I was just like nervous in the beginning. So they were like, you know, so yeah. And I also they flew me around. Like I got to do all the like Broadway and Bryant Parks, like as the understudy. I got to like promote the show like in New Orleans with, you know, of like Danny Burstein was in with like the Fiddler cast and Something Rotten, Christian Borle. So we're all performing for each other and like having an overnight, like all these Broadway people, like some originals in new shows, and then a lot of understudies like me. And it was cool to be able to do that.
How exciting.
I know, right? It's like a full experience you got. It's not just like being on stage, but actually creating and spreading the message of the show, right?
Yeah, and I remember, I mean, I don't want to get like too political on a theater podcast, but why not?
No, do it. I do it all the
time. The day like Trump was elected, the morning, that Wednesday, like we all came in like crying, and then the producers actually like sat us down on the stage between shows and just was like, they were like, you know, it is this much more important to commit to the story that you're telling, because you're letting a lot of young people know, or a lot of people of all ages know, that it's okay to be who they are, whoever they are, as they're figuring it out, you know. And it's all the more reason to like, don't phone this shit in. Like,
preach.
I don't think they said it like that, but but it was like a powerful, it was just, what a dark time.
Wow, I know. I just
it's still a dark time, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then there was a moment where I got to be Lauren the night that they inducted this whole Kinky Boots exhibit into the Smithsonian. So like my picture as Lauren and the boots and some of the costumes are like in the Smithsonian as an exhibit.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got to work with just the most incredible people. Like I became friends with Wayne Brady and was like, you know, and Brendan Urie, you know, was in. So I got to play opposite a lot of these like superstars that came in to play the leads.
For sure, yeah.
And doing scene work with Billy Porter is like pretty epic too.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh my gosh, that's
what a
amazing.
Wild ride.
By the way, you're a superstar yourself, so it's only right you're opposite these people.
Right.
Okay,
oh, thank you.
Just saying. Wow, that's amazing. It is. You said something like, you know, we all had these big personalities. I feel like for that show, you have to, because it's so like big and like in your face. Like, I feel like you have to be a human who's like, hi, hello, I am the funniest person in the room normally, and now I'm here with all these funny people.
Yeah, it was interesting because what's cool about Kinky Boots is that it's based on a true story. And this factory, this shoe factory, it's actually called Trickers, and it's in Northampton, England. And so before, like, so the movie was made first and the musical was made after, but all of it's based on this real situation. And so we got, like, the creative team actually went to the factory. So even my ensemble character was based on a real woman. So I was the mullet.
Oh, wow.
And so she was a real woman with a mullet who worked in the factory. And they told me that she like loved Elvis and motorcycles. And I was like, right on.
Right on, right? I could do
so,
that.
So we're talking about, and you know, we're talking about, it's, I guess, yes, the big personalities were helpful, but not because it was a big flashy production-y show, in that like, none of us were like the dancers, right? Like we were the character actors.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we were the people who were just like portraying these like everyday, the everyman, every woman, every person.
Amazing.
So,
yeah.
Wow, well, congratulations. Yeah.
Thanks. I still feel like I struck gold. It was like super luck. I have to say, like, not to, I mean, I do want to allow you to move on, but even like some kind of divine providence as far as luck with the audition, because so my dad is like, he and I are super spiritual, and he was like praying to all of our dead relatives when I had the audition. And again, to me, it was just like another audition. So I was like, oh, cool. Like I'd never seen it. I had just come off of Forbidden Broadway. So I kind of felt this level of like invincibility of like, that was the hardest thing I still have yet to have ever done in terms of being in previews, rehearsing, subbing new sketches in, like everything being wet paint all the time, everything being a quick change, like everything being just, you have to commit, and you might have egg on your face, and you will probably, and it's all gonna be okay. But so yeah, I was coming from that, and I was just like going into this pre-screen with, and I got a call back, and then in the callback, like Jerry Mitchell wasn't there, but like a lot of the associates, most of the creative team was there. There was a camera, and then I'm about to like start singing. So my dad has prayed to like, you know, the dead relatives.
Yes,
like,
the ancestors.
To Broadway. Yes, 100%. And as I'm about to open my mouth to start singing, like we've done the whole like, hey, what are you going to do first? And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I might as well belt for Jesus in this like ensemble thing, like the Sex is in the Heel. And then the door opens as I'm about to start. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's kind of rude. Like they know the audition is going. And then I hear, I'm here. And like Harvey.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh. And in the moment, I was like, oh, awesome. Like,
wow.
Game on. You know, like this is cool. Like I was excited by it. Even though the nervousness was like really, I was excited. And I was like, Harvey, I almost played you in Forbidden Broadway. Like we didn't have a male cover that like had learned the track yet. And he was like, they had me like singing Tevye in a dress. They always do me wrong. And I was like, no, it's actually a Kinky Boots sketch. And then I like realized that I was talking about like a parody of their show that I was doing. And I started to backpedal, and I was like, like, you know, it was like not the greatest of sketches because there wasn't a lot to critique, to be honest. In mouth. But yeah, and then I sang The Sex is in the Heel, which it's basically like, well, I don't want to say this, no disrespect to all of the alphabas in the world, but it's kind of like singing alphaba but being mixed into the ensemble. You're like tone belting high Fs, like for a lot of it. So I like did it, and I was just like, whew, the adrenaline, like let it fly out. And it's that whole like, here we come, you know, just like, whew. And then DB Bonds, our associate director, like pounded the table, was like, that's how you do it. And then Harvey said, you stop the clock. And I was like, what? You stop the clock. And he's pointing, and I turn around, and the clock was like analog and it was digital, but the second hand had stopped when I like hit the high note. It didn't restart. I was like, Grandpa Joe, you pulled through for me, man.
Yes.
So anyways, it was just like a very lucky, like, because there are, I respect and understand that I worked very hard and still trained to like be able to do what was required of me in that show. And I, but I still understand that it was a great amount of luck that allowed me to like be in a long running, amazing hit show that I loved doing.
Wow. That audition story is one for the books. And
Chills.
Also
Crazy.
So many props to you. I feel like most people, if Harvey like walked in the middle of their audition, would wig, and you were like, cool, like this is awesome.
Well, there is the wigging underneath, but it's like a decision. It's like a decision for me to be like, I'm gonna let this fuel me rather than
hinder you.
Sabotage. Like let's go.
Robin always says that to me when I'm like, I'll like wig out to him about something. He's like, Samantha, are you choosing this? Are you choosing this, or is it like, do you have to feel like this, or are you choosing to feel like the anxiety or whatever? It is a decision. We have to choose like our good confidence, or like mental health, right? There comes a point where it's like, okay, I can choose to freak out about all my blood work today, or I can just sit and say like, there's nothing I can do, and just like live my life. That was just the example that came to my head.
Yeah.
I
could talk about this exact thing for a whole hour. I think it's like, it's a nuanced and tricky discussion because there's a fine line between like spiritually bypassing your emotions and toxic positivity and self-denial and like mindfulness and being with the feelings, but then also having enough of like a level of consciousness to be like, okay, like I'm going to reframe a little bit, you know, I'm going to see rather than like, why is this happening to me? Like, how is this for me? You know, like, how can I take care of myself better with the information that I have about myself, which is that I'm anxious. You know, anxiety is a real thing. I've been crippled by anxiety. Like my mental health story is like long and detailed. So there's all the things.
Oh my gosh. Well, appreciate you being so transparent with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you.
It's important. It's really important because I think when I was first going through it and like seeing a psychiatrist and first getting on medication for depression and anxiety, I was like, there's so much of a stigma and there doesn't need to be, you know, it's a neurochemical imbalance. And also like a lot of the things that we're unraveling is conditioning that was taught to us. Like these are survival instincts, the perfectionism, the workaholism, anything, the low self-worth, like these are things that were taught to us. And we just like, it's a lot of unraveling to do and try to like, quote unquote, function in the world. And like, I think that it's a myth that everyone is functioning like everything's great all the time. Everyone has their shit.
True.
And like the worst thing the most poisonous thing for me was to have like really, really like severe depression and to be like walking around in the world being like, these people are normal and I'm not. I'm like a gremlin person, you know? And that's just a lie. Like, you know, depression is like that David after dentist anesthesia thing that just lasts a long time. Like, is this real life? Is this going to be forever? You know, depression is telling your mind that like, oh yeah, no, any joy or confidence you've ever had, like that's the lie. This is the forever truth. And this, you'll never find joy or pleasure in your life again. So this is what it is. And it's, you know, it's something to be surrendered to and to like, you know, it passes hopefully usually, but I've had help and I still need that help. So
of course, it's so important.
Yeah, for sure.
I think everybody needs to get the help they need. Like it's not, I think there's still a stigma a little bit, I feel like, you know, things have
100%.
definitely improved, but I think everybody should see a therapist. Like how better would the world be if people like actually talk to people about their feelings, like and not just bottle them up and act like, you know, like about to be a volcano like every day. You know? It's like,
my friend Will's like, I don't trust anybody that doesn't have a therapist. I mean, it's a funny joke, but also like to be real, therapy is expensive and sometimes it's a tricky world to navigate as far as like accessibility. There is that.
Very true. And like finding someone you trust.
Your match.
Yeah, that's hard also.
100%.
Therapy.
But yes, I do feel like, you know, in a perfect world, we would all have therapists.
Yes.
But, you know, you can only heal yourself and show up as your best self in the world. And that's it. You can't heal anyone else.
That's very true.
You can only do it by walking the walk and talking the talk and being a living example and listening and holding space for other people. You can't be like, go do therapy. You know? If they're not willing to look at that shit, then that's okay. That's where they are in their journey.
That's where they are. Yeah.
That's their own shit.
And maybe that's something that's keeping them alive, is not looking at some of that stuff. You know,
hey,
you never know what the context is of someone's behavior.
Totally.
Hashtag facts.
Hashtag context is everything.
Context is everything. Well, let's flip the conversation a little bit and let's talk about, well, you've toured a Postmodern Jukebox, a vintage cover band. Awesome. And now you're creating your own music with your band Missy Fit. So congratulations. And you want to tell us a little bit about that whole process? I know that's two big things you're doing.
Yeah. So it's interesting, actually. The other big survival job, and you know, I also feel like it's, I don't know, I feel like calling these things survival jobs belittles what they are, because they're like really wonderful callings and vocations as well, like the wedding singer thing, but then also like teaching voice. Like that was born out of my tour with Postmodern Jukebox. It's like a vocal studio that I'm like building now, because like two of the instrumentalists, like we got to tour with this amazing band, and we would go ship to ship and take this Postmodern Jukebox music, and we had 2 different shows, but like just this tight knit band. It was 3 singers, including me, piano player, brilliant man named Lewis Such, who's British, guitar, who also doubled as banjo, bass player, and drums. And, you know, 2 of them came up to me and were like, hey, can you teach me voice lessons? Like, I want to be able to be more marketable in these other kind of like chip shows, or like backup vocals, or write my own music. And I was like, absolutely. So we bartered. So like I would get piano lessons from Lewis and teach him voice. And I would, and Ryan Robinson, our bass player, is like also a gym rat, like trainer, like weightlifter. And he would train me in the gym, and I would give him voice lessons. And now he's singing his own music that he's been writing. I'm like so excited for him.
Oh my God.
For me, like, yeah, so that was born out of the Postmodern Jukebox thing. And Missy Fit was born out of, oh my gosh, such a long history. The Stanley Steamer Variations video is this video that went viral in 2012 on YouTube. And I was like on Good Morning America for it. And it was basically just me and this other collaborator, this guy, Roger Klug, who is just the most insanely brilliant. Like, I am spoiled to get to collaborate with this man. But he's in Cincinnati because his wife, Julie Spangler, was the pianist at CCM, where I went to school. So that's how I went to her, being like, I need to do a jingle demo, voiceover demo. And I was like, can you just MIDI these other styles? Because I want to take one jingle and do like 8 different variations of totally different genres of the same jingle. And that was Rocco Del Vera, rest in power, a voiceover teacher's idea. And he is just the most brilliant, wonderful, generous of spirit teacher I've ever, encountered. And yeah, so she was like, you should work with my husband, because he's like got a recording studio. He's an audio engineer. He's a multi-instrumentalist. Like, you should. And then we were just kind of off to the races. Like, we created this thing and then started creating other music and had to put it on ice because it's difficult. So we were already doing the long distance thing before the pandemic, when everyone
wow, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, you already got the skills down.
The trendsetter, y'all.
So during the pandemic, we released a couple singles, one of which is original. We have a bunch of originals that we're still sitting on for some reason. It's just challenging because both of us, he's got, a life and kids, and actually teaches like rock and roll and Beatles and stuff at CCM as well. And plays in his own bands and arranges for the symphony. And, so we both are trying to like get after our own hustles. So right now we've just been a little bit dormant, but over the pandemic, we released an EP that was this like bizarre fever dream that came to him. And we've always been very like weirdly intuitive with each other. So there was this variation of, in Stanley Steamer, there's like a 50s girls trio singing the Steamer thing. And we like thought of them as a band, and we named them B and the Bees. Even like then we were like, okay, this one's Bubbles. Like, she was the triplet that came last and is just a little bit a step behind. And like Betty is the alto, but she feels like she should be the lead singer. And it's like, like Vixen-y. And then there's B plus like B, who's like, just like, I'm perfect and I'm just everything you need me to be, because it's and I'm a woman in America. And so we created this this EP, Missy Fit presents B and the Bees singing songs about rain. So basically we take 4 songs, like Creedence Clearwater Revival song, Have You Ever Seen the Rain?
Yes.
Bob Dylan, Buckets of Rain, the Beatles, Rain, and Love Rain Over Me, The Who. And we did like 50 cover versions of all of them. And Roger is just so brilliant. So I sang all the vocals. And we even have like
all 3-part, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of like doubling. Like, some of the vocals are really lush. So there's like a lot of different wild psychedelic stuff happening in the background. But and he plays all the instruments and like makes the arrangements and engine. And like, I just feel like as far as a 2-person band, like yeah, I just got really lucky. He
That's
does so
amazing.
much. And he also like video edits. So we did this like Zoom interview of the band where like we had to record all the girls separately and script it out. And it's us two interviewing B and the Bees. So
so good
on the YouTubes.
Wait, we have to post that in our show notes.
Yeah, we definitely do, Jay.
We had a lot of fun. It's like pretty silly.
Oh man, that's so good. And you said you were on Good Morning America. You
Yes,
were interviewed by Jerry Seinfeld. Did I read that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that? I was gonna be like,
God.
I know you're honored to be here with us, getting interviewed by us. But like, tell us what it was like with Jerry.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, he's probably a little bit. We're a little bit, more entertaining than him, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
No need to diminish yourselves. It was quick, So the whole situation was just one of the craziest days of my life. And actually, I did Freestyle Love Supreme Academy, and I made like a really long truth exercise, which is basically like you freestyle about something that actually happened to you. So I have a freestyle on my Instagram of this experience of me just like improv rapping about it. But basically, in a nutshell, I was like really into Kundalini yoga at the time. And I was like about to go on a Kundalini yoga retreat in Costa Rica. So I had my flight booked. And it was the end of the Mayan calendar, like December 21st, 2012. That was like, it was a 10-day retreat. So the night before the retreat, I was actually like really sick. Like a lot of this like deep spiritual work was like, my body would just like purge involuntarily. Like it wasn't food poisoning. It was just like digging through old layers of shit, trauma, maybe even lifetimes of trauma. And, so I was just in this place of just like, I was so sick. I finally got to sleep at like 4 a.m. And then at 6, I got a call. And this was before I like was always on Do Not Disturb, which I am now. Sorry, everyone that tries to call me.
Same. I am too. Always. I don't even care anymore.
Never discovered that hack at that point. But I thought it was one of those like, in like certain flight like orbits or whatever call you, be like, your flight is delayed. Like they'd call you and leave an automated, it was like a robot being like, your flight is leaving on time. I thought it was that. So I picked up and it was like this guy. And he was like, I'm a producer with Good Morning America. Is this Mia Gentile of like the Stanley Steamer Variations on YouTube? And I was like, yes. And he's like, don't accept any other offers. We want you on like the prime segment at 8 a.m. like for the pop segment. And so I was like, and he's like, what are you doing today? I was like, I'm flying to Costa Rica. He's like, what time's your flight? We'll take you there after. And I was like, okay. So they like paid for, they like drove me, and they also picked me up at my apartment in Harlem. They're like, we'll get you in 30 minutes. Can you be ready? Bring like a dress, maybe some maracas, some costumes, be ready to sing. And I was
30
like,
minutes?
Yeah, no, 30 minutes. And this is like 6 a.m. I was like, I was still green. Like I maybe napped for like an hour, maybe.
Oh my
gosh. But actually that really worked in my favor because I didn't have the bandwidth to be nervous. I was just worried about like puking on national television.
Right.
Like I didn't have any more in me. I was like, just don't puke and you'll be good.
So, you have like 1 hour to like tell people, hey, I'm going to be on Good Morning America. Maybe you should tune in.
Did you even
Are you available?
Well, I called Roger. So I called Roger in Cincinnati, but it was early. And he still jokes with me about having this voicemail from me where I'm whispering like as if I'm waking him up. But I think actually my boyfriend at the time was there and he was probably awake. I don't even remember. But like I was like, Roger, I'm going to be on Good Morning America for some like, please tune in. This is crazy.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Yeah. And I think I like posted about it on Facebook, but yeah. And so I get there and it's really cool to see like the inner workings of a news show because it's like 4 different sets in one giant room, but then like all the cameras and the crew and the people are just moving throughout them. And so like Emerald was doing a thing and the cast of Annie was doing a thing. And then, and then Jerry was on like the main panel with like George Stephanopoulos and Sam Champion. And so they didn't even tell me, like they put me in hair and makeup and the 2 girls from Nashville who played the sisters. I think they might've been sisters in real life. It was one of their birthdays. So they were getting doing a birthday interview performance.
Oh, wow.
Like there was a lot happening. And so I went into hair and makeup with them and was just talking to them. They were super sweet. And then, yeah. And then they were like, okay, so you're going to go on. And there's this like Latin variation of the Stanley Steamer things where I'm like, I speak Spanish. So I like did my own crude translation of the Stanley Steamer jingle, but they wanted that one. So I like went on and was like dancing, and they were like, just do it like a cappella, like just go in singing and dancing like that. And I was like,
you're like, okay.
They're like, figure it out. Like, do what you feel. And I was like, all right.
Good morning.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Although the adrenaline, like I was awake at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So I went on, and then Jerry was like, so they played a little bit, and they were like, the latest viral video is blah, 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 and they like played a few of them, and he was like, wow. Oh shoot, one of my crystals.
Oh no, get it.
Like ADD woo-woo girl. So Jerry's like, oh no, like carpet cleaner would be a star vehicle. Oh my God. I was like, who knew, Jerry?
Who knew?
Who knew?
And then I was about to leave and go fly to Costa Rica, and I got out of my like what I wore. I went back into my comfies for flying, and then this guy with the headset was like, Steamer girl, you're on for the next segment. They like put me on so I could get interviewed longer. So I was like dancing with Sam Champion. They're like, get back in hair and makeup.
Oh my
God. Steamer girl. Steamer girl.
Steamer girl. I was like, is this going to be it? Is this what I am now?
Steamer girl.
That, and now Jason, the new thing I taught you, that is so Broadway. That whole story.
Oh my gosh. There's a survival job button to this whole thing. So
yeah.
Yes, okay, always bring it back.
Like we've gone so far off track.
So it always happens.
I love it. I'm here for the sidebars and the tangents.
It's so good. Yeah, we do it all the time.
So, okay. So, well, first of all, that president of Stanley Steamer International called me, and we tried to like negotiate something, and then it sort of didn't pan out. And I feel like looking back to that was also divine timing. But during the pandemic, I looked through, like, I had a message request from a music producer on Instagram, and he was like, I tried to friend you in 2012. I produced the Stanley Steamer jingle, and I tried to reach out to you in 2012. And he's like, I actually still do jingles if you want to like make some money. I was like, yeah. And I already had my mic situation. So Trey Nagella, who's produced like, oh my God, he's produced one of my favorite gospel singers, Kirk Franklin. He's done Christina Aguilera, Lil Wayne, I think.
Wow.
Oh, Jason.
Like he's like, yeah. Oh, Kirk Franklin. Anyways, yeah, he was like, do you want to do a jingle? So I like got to do it in my own apartment with my little setup, and
so good.
You know, made a little money singing a jingle from the guy who did the Stanley Steamer jingle.
Full circle.
Yeah, weird, right?
Wow, I love that.
Is so good.
Yeah,
Steamer girl. I'm still stuck. I'm still stuck on the guy coming up to you being like, Steamer girll, we're gonna need you back in hair and makeup. Let's go.
Like all in black with a headset, like full on, like stage manager.
I'm like early in the morning. Also, I'm gagged. Like, what did they have scheduled before that? And that they're just like, let's cold call this girl at 6 a.m. Hope she picks up. And I hope she's.
Doesn't it start at 6 a.m. though? Isn't it like
I think,
6 to 10?
Yes, but like the pop segment was at 8. I think it was at 8.
That's so wild. That gives me anxiety that they're like waiting till the very last minute.
Anxiety as well.
It was probably better that I couldn't like ruminate. It was better that I was just fired out of the cannon into it. Yeah. I would prefer it that way, honestly. But then the crazy thing, just going back briefly, is that they drove me to the airport after that, and I flew to Costa Rica, and it was like I was going by myself. Like I knew the yoga teacher who was like leading the retreat, but I didn't know anybody else. And there's like in Costa Rica, in this particular area, Nosara, it's like dirt roads that don't have names, and the driver didn't speak English. But I speak Spanish, so we were like, but I just still didn't know where we were going, and I didn't have cell service, so I'm trying to text the teacher.
So brave.
So it's like the night. So it was like the morning I was like puking, and then on Good Morning America, like on national television for the first time, and then in the evening I'm like in a Jeep like holding on to the oh shit handle with no seatbelt, like lost in the wilderness, like in the jungle, essentially. Like, and then we would stop and like get like coconut water, and the guy's like macheteing open the coconut, and I'm talking to this like German yogi with dreads, like who lives there now, was like from New York and was a businessman. And so it's just this like whole wild adventure of like, this is one day in my life. Like you never know what's going to happen in your life. You never know what can happen in one day.
That's a short film. That day is a short film for the Bridgeport Film Festival next year, Jay.
Let's write it.
Make it. Let's do it. I think
I'm so down.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we have one more question for you, and then we're going to slide into a super fun game.
Awesome.
So I hope you have your game competitive pants on. I say that a lot. I gotta find a new.
Don't threaten me with a good time. I'm way too competitive. I will tell you, like, it's embarrassing how competitive I am. Like when he first beat me at Bananagrams, after I had just taught him, like I thought I would win like maybe 10 more times, but he's very brilliant. He beat me like on the third game, and I was like, genuinely, he'd never seen me. I was like, good game. Good game. So actually upset.
For Bananagrams, it's so good. We always love to bring the show back to survival jobs, start and end, you know, what we love to talk about. Why do you think it's important for artists to have a survival job, whatever survival job means to you, before and during your artistic journey and your artistic path?
Why is it important to have a survival job before and during an artistic path? Okay.
Like whatever your dream bliss artistic life, whatever that means to you, while you're like working to get that, or even during getting that, like why is it important to have a survival job, whatever that means?
Well, I guess survival, you know, there's that. On the very surface level, survival.
Right. Let's pay our rent.
But I think too, the blessings that I've gotten is I really enjoyed the jobs that allowed me to feel like a worker among workers, rather than like in this business where it's like you have to be this big ego, and then it's like, but don't be a big ego, but come in with all this confidence and be prepared to be rejected. You know, I think waiting tables actually felt really good to be a part of like a team, and to be helping curate like a dining experience for people. And I even like when I did summer stock, like I was playing Millie at the New London Bar and Playhouse in Thoroughly Modern Millie. And I was like,
I love that show.
Yeah. Well, that's just very problematic now that you think about it.
Yeah.
But I loved that role. We'll say that. I loved playing that role. And that was
no revival anytime soon, I don't think.
Yeah. I got to play it in Connecticut too, at the Seven Angels Theater, this like community theater, when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So, but the idea was at summer stock, you're in the resident company. So you're in the shows, all the shows. And then you're also like cleaning and taking care of the theater and building the sets and doing the costumes. So I would be like, my chore would be like picking up cigarette butts in the parking lot before going and starring in the show. And I actually just really kind of liked that aspect of, there's something very Buddhist about it. It's like somebody's got to do these things. Like, why not me? You know, like,
yeah.
And yeah, it felt like very human
and so humbling too.
Not to like glamorize like menial jobs, but also, yeah, I got a lot out of it. And as far as today, survival jobs, I think what's important to remember is that like we contain multitudes. You know, I know people that have like full on other careers. Like my buddy Maddie is a brilliant Broadway actor, dancer, singer, and also does medical coding. Like my friend Blair from Kinky Boots just finished nursing school today. Like we contain multitudes. Like,
congrats to Blair.
Yeah.
Congrats to Blair.
I fully can't comprehend how she is doing she's 2 kids, still does shows and readings and concerts, and, you know, still does theater, but also nursing school.
Went to nursing school.
Like 5 full-time jobs. So I think it's important to like join, I think an artist is somebody, like, I think that's service to the world is like, I think it's light work, but I think it's also important to be in the world in the ways that like the gears that keep it running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the most articulate way I could have
No,
said it.
that makes total sense.
No,
And
it
Definitely
there are
felt that.
different
Perfect.
aspects of all people, and I think all people are artists. So I feel
100.
I think it's important to explore your multitudes, and I think that makes you a better artist. You know?
Yes, 100%. Because how are you going to
Aw.
fully understand, you know, characters who are picking up cigarette butts for their, you know, job if you didn't do that? Not saying everyone has to do everything that their characters do, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I wonder about, like, I feel lucky that I wasn't like a full-on child actor, because if you're not in a school system or like being, and of course, I don't want to have any prejudice. I'm sure people are like really fine who've experienced that lived experience, but
Yeah.
I wonder, it's like your job is to be a human being, but you don't have a typical human experience, you'll say. Like normal is kind of but like you're being tutored and you're on tour and you have an agent and you're making money and you're doing all these things and you're a child, right? And you're not experiencing
childhood. Yeah.
School,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Well, Mia, thank you so much. You are so wise. And I want to say, like, thank you so much for being so transparent and open and vulnerable with us. Those are our favorite kinds of guests. Not that all of our guests aren't our favorite. We love all guests. We appreciate everyone that comes on. But Jason and I always really dig into inspiration and like getting deep and preaching. Jason always is like, yes, preach.
I love that about you. You can hear the truth and you can reflect it back.
Yeah, we love that. So like I said before, we do end every episode with a game. Jay, do you want to explain the game?
Oh boy. So we're doing a trivia game that's all about Connecticut celebrities, actors, and maybe musicians. So
I'm so scared now.
Yeah.
So bad.
No, don't be scared.
Okay.
Well, do you want to, if you need a hint or you want to phone a friend, you can phone one of us and we can give a good hint.
Okay.
Jay, you want to take the first one?
Do I want to take the first one for sure? Okay.
Don't be scared, Mia. You're going to be great.
Yeah. This 3-time Tony Award nominee, who recently starred in Tick, Tick, Boom on Netflix, is originally from Norwalk, Connecticut. Who is this actor?
3-time Tony nominee?
Yep.
Wait, Robin DeJesus?
Yeah.
Correct. Ding, ding, ding. See, you're off to a good start.
I've been lucky enough to know him.
Yes. He's the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was obsessed with Cam.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
I went to Stage Door Manor, so like the day
did?
The year that it came out was the year that I went, and so we like went to the premiere and like got to meet some of them.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Camp is iconic. If you haven't seen it, people, please watch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus, yeah.
Yes. Next question. For years, this Bridgeport, Connecticut native starred on Law & Order SVU as Detective Munch. Who is this actor?
Of course, I don't watch Law & Order. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Samantha's gonna come for you.
No, but I love SVU. It's my favorite show. Okay, we'll do a quick multiple choice. A, Richard Belzer. B, Christopher Maloney. C, I'm making it up on the spot, and I just blanked.
Where's the Hargitay?
So now he knows it. Now she knows it's not C. Is it Richard Belzer or Christopher Maloney? Multiple choice.
Christopher Maloney.
No, it is Richard Belzer. It's okay.
Okay. This Fairfield, Connecticut native starred in movies such as Dodgeball, He's Just Not Into You, Jeepers Creepers. Who is this actor?
Vince Vaughn?
No.
Oh, Dodgeball.
The opposite of short. His last name is the opposite of short. Not tall.
Wait, what are the other movies?
Oh, Jeepers Creepers, Dodgeball, He's Just Not Into You. He's just not that into you.
Okay, and his last name is the opposite of short.
Yeah.
But not tall. Long. Justin Long?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's from Connecticut.
You're amazing at this
forgot
game.
about that.
Yeah.
We're like
The
this.
hint was helpful.
Okay. This Dawson's Creek alumni was born in Cheshire, Connecticut.
Oh God, I'm never gonna get this one.
I would never get this one. Do you want to phone a friend? I think you can phone Jason.
Yeah, I'm phoning Jason.
Does that mean I just give her the answer? Was phone a
friend?
friend?
You have the answer, right? I'm phoning that's a good phone a friend. You have it in front of you.
James Vanderbeek, who played Dawson.
Oh,
who played
cool.
Dawson.
I have never seen an episode of Dawson's Creek.
I'm surprised, Samantha.
I don't think I have either, honestly. I don't watch that much TV, unfortunately.
Lately, I have been.
Yeah, I have been more now. But
lately.
Yeah. But John Mayer's from Connecticut. Is there a question about him?
Okay, so we're doing a really fun bonus. So we were into the bonus portion of the game.
This guitar.
Oh, I took the last one. Sorry.
No, it's okay. This guitar-playing, 7-time Grammy-winning musician was born in Bridgeport and grew up in Fairfield, Connecticut. Who is them?
Well, actually, the reason I knew that was John Mayer. But
ding, ding, ding.
I was a super perfectionist overachiever. So I was in the National Honor Society. And our principal at the time, John Dodig, who actually I was like really like our first, I think he was our first queer principal, maybe? First out principal. And he was in all the player shows with us. He always had these like little roles. He came and gave a speech at National Honor Society, and I think I sang something, and then he was talking about like being John Mayer's principal, but he like the punchline was John Mayer, but he was like, I'd see this kid playing guitar in the courtyard. It wasn't, and yeah, it was
the punchline was John Mayer. I love it.
Yeah, I'm telling it backwards in the less entertaining way.
Listen, I do want to say you did a great job at the game. Even though you were nervous, you really did a great job. I would have never got James Vanderbeek either. Okay. So, and you knew the bonus before we even gave the bonus. So I think because of that, you just get an automatic 100.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us and sharing space and words and wisdom and experiences. It was amazing to talk to you about your survival jobs and your journey. And before you go, can you let all of our listeners know where they can find you on social media, how to keep up with Mia?
Yes. So you can actually, I do 20-minute free consultations for my vocal studio over Zoom, and I teach over Zoom and in person. You can do that through my website at www.themiagentile.com. Yes. And my Instagram is at @themiagentile. I'm also on Facebook, Mia Gentile. And I'm on TikTok, but I'm sort of just dipping my toe into TikTok.
We need to get a TikTok. We say this every episode. Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
I love dipping the toe.
Dipping my toe into TikTok. Feeling old, but giving it a go.
Yeah.
And Jay, can you tell everyone where to find us?
Yes, if you want to find us on Facebook and Instagram, it's Survival Jobs Pod. On Twitter, it's Survival Jobs Pod. Did I mix that up?
Yep, Facebook.
I did mix that up. Facebook. You think after 44 episodes?
Yeah.
We have to have all these different ones, though.
We're Survival Jobs Pod on Instagram and Twitter and on Facebook.
Survival Jobs, a podcast.
And shoot us an email at survivaljobspod@gmail.com.
Yeah, and I am Jason A. Coombs on all the things, and Samantha is Sammy Tits on all the things. Give us a follow.
Survivors, give us a follow. Thank you so much, Mia. You are a superstar icon, and we are so happy that you are on this show.
Thank you. It's so good to be reunited with the two of you, and thanks for doing what you can for having me.
Thank
you so much.
Awesome.